Good day and namaste. My name is stepº28. I'm a natural-born psychic, an astrologer, life coach, and I call myself the Sensei to Serious Joy. Serious Joy is a conscious entertainment that could potentially change your life. Each day, you'll receive 7 to 10 inspirational messages per day written just for you. You can receive your messages via text message or email anywhere on Earth with a cell phone or internet reception. If you're out of step with yourself, you feel it. When you're out of step with the world, you really feel it. And most importantly, when you're out of step with your heart, you know it. Well, friend, you don't have to feel out of step any longer. Sign up today and I'll give you the first week of personal Sensei service for just 99 cents. You can cancel at any time. If you decide to continue with our service, you'll be charged $19.95 per month. That's less than $5 a week for a 24/7 soul assurance, keeping you in step with yourself and with your universe. I'll walk by your side day after day, 24/7 in your back pocket until you get it right. And I'm serious about that. Good day from my smartphone to yours. I'm casting love. Captured live in the Serious Joy Garden Studios in Costa Mesa, California. This is Friday. Thank goddess it's Friday. Good morning and namaste, and welcome to Namaste today. I'm your host and spiritual life coach, step'r28. My modality is psychic astrology, and my personal mission is to stand in my heart and help other people stand in theirs. I'm also trying to help unite the light on Earth. This webisode is for Friday. Thank goddess it's Friday, March 18th, 2016. And today the Great Human Walk has reached step 28, Pisces. Hello, friend. Thank goddess it's Friday. Aren't you glad it's Friday? I'm glad. I'm really glad just because I want to get to the spring and get to the new stuff. I think Pisces has been heavy. I think Aquarius was tough. I think Capricorn was cold. So I don't really think it's been that great of a year so far energetically. Although we're keeping our chin up, right, if we're watching this show. But I'm grateful because we're wrapping up the Pisces vibration. Today, the human walk is at step 28, Pisces. That is, I feel, step 2, I decide. So what we feel and decide is what manifests. What you commit to and what you allow to yourself to feel is what manifests. So if you allow yourself to feel fear today, or you allow yourself to feel trapped, or allow yourself to feel anything that's negative, you are really bringing that in for the next cycle. Sorry. So what you be is what comes. All right. Be in your highest spiritual good today. And I think you'll be in a good spot. But we'll talk more about that with today's vibe. First, a shout out to Mary Beth Murphy. We've been doing an Energy to Angels week, releasing episodes all week about the angels and the higher realms. And we have another episode today and one more coming out on Monday. And then we're done with this series. We've released the entire series. So gratitude to Mary Beth Murphy. She does do angel readings, by the way. People have asked, and yes, she does. And today we will release our one of two. So enjoy that over the weekend. And now on to today's vibe. Well, today's vibe I think is going to be sunny and self-loving, which is rare, sunny and self-loving. That's because we're in the rare high of Pisces at step 28, so we've reached the higher degrees of spiritual understanding. No matter who you are, you probably let off a little bit of emotional baggage this Pisces season. You probably let off a little bit of karma and turned your back on some old stuff, yeah? Right? So we're lighter, and as we're in this light note, finally cleaned out, haven't made any new mistakes yet in 2016, in comes the moon in Leo today, which lightens our heart and creates a grand trine. I'll be showing that later on the overhead projector. So today's vibe is sunny and self-loving because of this grand trine. My heart is manifesting my highest good today. I'm creating my spiritual faith. I am building faith in myself today in what I'm doing. I'm feeling that I can have faith in myself, and tonight is going to be a great night as well, because as the moon moves into Leo, everyone's just kind of gelling. So go ahead and fall in love with whatever you're falling in love with right now. In fact, I'm feeling self-loving. I'm feeling attentive. I'm feeling self-centered, and that's okay when the moon's in Leo. We are self-centered. Remember, we are in a really you're really in your own movie doing your own thing, and I think God just networks them together. So really it is a person's own enjoyment, and this is a weekend where, with us being in high spiritual vibe and the moon in so much loving Leo, the two combined can be really sweet if you've let go of your baggage. So I'm feeling the bright shiny Leo today and through the weekend. I'm open to what Spirit tells me. Venus is at step 7, Pisces, the Grandmaster step of Pisces. So Venus is showing up on Manifestation Day, completely surrendering to Spirit. I'm thinking about the big picture. Mercury's at Grandmaster Mercury, step 23, Pisces. So we're masterminding it. We're opening it in a pure sense. You can see how this is almost with the numbers, you can see there's a spiritual purity today on this Manifestation Day. And step 23 is the big picture, by the way. So what we feel and what we believe, this is what we're thinking about, the big picture, what we feel and what we believe. And remember, the big picture doesn't have all the small details, all right? It has what we feel and what we believe. Now, I am pushing for my tribe. I am pushing for my story. I am impatient, and I am philosophically a little radical right now. That's because Mars is at step 4, Sagittarius. So I think we're going to see some of the Trump stuff heat up more, or at least the tension begin to head towards ready to pop here. And I'll be talking about that pop in today's topic, actually, what's going to make that pop. But today I'm pushing for that. So be careful, folks. Make sure you're where you belong. Don't hang out with people that aren't your kind this weekend. That's not a prejudice thing. That's a universe is doing some organizing, and you could get caught. There's been a lot of train accidents lately. Yeah, you know, all these train accidents and stuff, now that Mars is in Sagittarius, Sagittarius is travel. So, unfortunately, be careful. While Mars is in Sag, there will be a lot of travel accidents and things, really exposing where belief structure is inappropriate for the safety of that industry, probably. But this is the time, as your astrologer would say, don't do it. So, with Mars at 4, dangerous weekend, be careful, walk, look over your shoulder. And I am learning how to manifest balance, fair reality. Balance is a big one. That's because Jupiter's at retrograde step 16. Step 16 is we are living in balance to the point of Zen, 7. All right? And balance is difficult. So try creating balance. Even if you're in a new field, a new direction, a new path, in balance, one step at a time. That's one thing the step astrology has taught me. God only gives us one step at a time. Literally one step a day. That's it. No more than that. Go to sleep, wake up, one more step. Okay, so it's so don't push yourself past that either. So your joy quest, should you choose to accept it, is to hold true to your commitments all weekend long and not go back. And if you've studied with me for a while, you know I always say it's better to manifest the wrong thing and throw it back in the pond once you get it, or trade it or sell it for something, than it is to stop a manifestation in progress. So keep continuing forward. Hold true to your commitments and hold off. Today, step 28 rules the day. Tomorrow, step 29 is the tested step. So everyone on Saturday will be tested on the boundaries you swore to all month long, or the limits you swore to all month long, or the compassion you swore to all month long. These are all Pisces issues. Taking it too far, compassion, that sort of thing. So testing on all those things on Saturday. Sunday, we go to step 0, Aries. So we're going to be changing gears. Energy on the earth changes. It's that spring energy coming in then. So let's hop on to today's topic, where I'm going to give you a little insight on the beginning of Aries, which is this weekend. Today's topic is the March lunar eclipse. Ignorance is no longer bliss. That's right, my friends. We have a lunar eclipse coming up, and I did a special, when we had the solar eclipse. We had a solar eclipse about a week ago. Depending on when you're actually watching this, almost 2 weeks ago. It'll be 2 weeks next Wednesday. And now we're going to have a lunar eclipse. Now, the solar eclipse was actually a healing. Okay, so I know a lot of things fell apart. We got violence escalated on Earth. People got sick. Lots of things happened that were negative. But those were actually all in the effort of healing. So those were a conscious push to heal. And so that was revealing anger, revealing things like that. So believe it or not, that was the good one. Okay, that was the good one. And I'm not trying to invoke fear. In fact, I'm letting you know right now that there's a wrecking ball coming. The wrecking ball is a lunar eclipse. Now, I'm going to take this moment to teach a couple little things which have to do with lunar and solar eclipses. Right now, if someone is pregnant with a baby, this weekend, next Wednesday, there will be a lunar eclipse in Aries, and that baby will be born with the prenatal lunar eclipse in Aries, because it's the eclipse that happened most recently to the baby's birth. This is what we call a prenatal or pre-solar eclipse. Now, in my research, these are so profoundly accurate and powerful and provocative parts of our personality. I use them in my tech service. I use it everywhere. It's like one of my secret sauces in my 11 herbs Wateki spices, right? But the point is here we are, living eclipses, which means new kids are getting eclipses before they're born. So you might look up and find out what your eclipses are because it's very interesting knowledge to know. Right now, children that are born, whether they're a Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, whatever going forward, this summer, they'll all have a solar eclipse in Pisces and a lunar eclipse in Aries. Now let's talk about that. We have the lunar eclipse in Aries coming up. And a lunar eclipse, a solar eclipse is an endowment of energy. It's a big pulse of energy. And it was a total total solar eclipse. So it was a total pulse of compassion from God, right? Very powerful. Now we have a lunar eclipse. A lunar eclipse is different. It is is literally a negative pock mark that is made. It is literally a deficit. It's like if the earth fell in, if some earth fell in and water fell in and created a tsunami. I mean, like, it's always, basically what it creates, in the soul, who's born just months later or whatever, is your emotional blind spot. So wherever you have a lunar eclipse before you're born, this is your emotional blind spot in your life. Your solar eclipse, by the way, prenatal solar eclipse in your chart, is a past life personality that you have lived, mastered, and remember completely. This is why a lot of astrology is fuzzy for people. Like, well, I'm kind of a Taurus, but I have so many other traits. Well, you have a total solar eclipse. That's a whole other sun sign. You know what I mean? The Jupiter sign is very prevalent. The Saturn, all these energies, whatever signs are in, they're very prevalent. But the solar eclipse is a biggie. So the lunar eclipse coming up, which is what I really want to talk about, is going to be at step 3 Sagittarius. So what this means is we're going to have this, the way I think it works is the degree that the eclipse happens kind of gets completely sucked out of the universe. It just goes away, leaving the population to repopulate that degree. Okay, that's how I kind of see it. So it's almost like God pulls out the rug, and the eclipses, people are like, oh no, the floor fell out, we've got to define this, we've got to understand this, we've got to do this now, and it forces this rush of redefinition. And in this case, step 3. Now what's dangerous about step 3 is the Grandmaster step of Sag. So this is the Grandmaster step of Sag. So basically, the entire Sagittarius vibration, the entire Sagittarius human race, every Sag, I think, on the planet, honestly, because it's at step 3 is what I'm saying, is going to be, and they're like, why Sag? Is going to have a little ping about belief, because belief structure itself is going to be pinged, okay? Now, we're actually in the sign of Aries, so it's step 3 of Aries. The sun will be in Aries. I don't know if I said Sag, but that's because I was thinking of step 3, excuse me. The sun will be in Aries, and that is our ego. And so basically what's happening is there's going to be a little karate chop from the universe, okay, right in our ego and what it believes. So in other words, our egos are all going to have a leg knocked out from under it, I believe. And that leg will be, oh, you thought you were this, huh? Well, okay, that's kind of the way I see it. Like, so, in other words, whatever the lunar eclipse hits is a part of our ignorant ego, where our ego is ignorant, unfortunately. And just like God gave us this big boost of consciousness of spirit and holiness and healing, now God is taking out lower level ego, basically, okay? And this is a wrecking ball. Now, the way it's happening is at step 3, which means a fundamental belief will suddenly change. That's what creates the absence, all right? So I'm predicting now that between now and Wednesday, Thursday, as many times we have gasped at the presidential election, as many times we've gasped at things that have come out of candidates' mouths, I have to say, something is probably going to shock us to the core. Something will shock us to the core. I pray it's not negative. I pray no one is hurt. But something will probably shock us to the core. Something where everyone is like, uh-oh, we're not in Kansas anymore. Okay? And it's an ego blunt. So basically ignorant egos, people who've been acting without thinking, people who've been acting without belief, people who've been acting without purpose, people who've been acting without heart, these people will be hit in the leg, so to speak, and take a tumble pretty quickly. So you could say, the protesters that have been inflamed might take a knock. I don't know. On the flip side, this energy is very much like protest energy. So it could create tons of protest and inflame people to all rise up. I mean, I really don't know. I don't want to predict a catastrophe, but I do want to say in your life, and that's what today's topic is that through the weekend, the universe is starting to prepare now to awaken you on somewhere your ego is ignorant. So somewhere where the dumbass is dumb. Okay, now you can go down easy, you can go down hard. Hard is denial, right? And there's nothing wrong, I never did that. Easy is, all right, Wateki told me there's going to be something in my ego that has to be checked out. And I don't think anyone, President Obama, no one gets out of this. Basically, we're all going to cut away some of our bottom ego by cutting away a core belief that it held to, is what it really is. So you can prepare. And let me give you the 5 o'clock question as your way to prepare. I know this is a little long segment, but it is the weekend. Think through the weekend. Is there something your ego may be ignoring right underneath your eyes? Is there something your ego may be ignoring right underneath your eyes? Okay? And the follow-up, where in life do you need to open up? Where in your life do you need to open up? Okay. So basically, I'll just say, the first question is something your ego may be ignoring. That's the kind of thing where it's like, I always knew he was cheating. I always knew this. People always say they knew these things, and then this happens. Well, this particular lunar eclipse, I think, on Wednesday is going to pull the wool from people's eyes. So you can get ahead of the consciousness and be kind of like, all right, what am I ignoring? What am I... Now, we're still in Pisces. That's why I'm giving you guys this time to do this over the weekend, because in the Pisces vibe, you're still very psychic, you're still very true. We can go ahead and look to see what part of our ego we want to bring down, okay, and pre-plan the demolition. That's where the universe works for you, cleans up the mess. The follow-up. So look for somewhere your ego is ignoring. Now, for me, I don't even know right now. I'm not going to say right now, but I know I've been thinking this way and being careful. The follow-up. Where in life do you need to open up? Okay, so this is the last thing I'll pose to you. The lunar eclipse could definitely hit you in a place where you've been refusing to open up, you've been refusing to budge on that issue. Your ego has been really stuck and just not budging, okay? So on those things, why won't Grandpa pay for college? Why won't this, when people are and the whole family's getting more and more and more and more, okay, if you're holding back, and not letting energy flow and look for the thing, that could be what collapses in the eclipse as well. So wherever you are resisting, your ego is fighting, good possibility for eclipse action there. All right. Well, forgive the long one. I know nobody cares whenever I go a little over, but still I want to be courteous of your time. Let's now move on to the Zenen. And welcome to the Zenen. Hello, friends. Let's take 3 breaths together. And as we hold hands, I put royal blue light around us and fill the energy between us with golden light. Okay. And an affirmation before we go on our way. This is a very simple one, just to stay focused with your manifestation. I feel my truths today, and I decide to commit to them. I feel my truths today, and I decide to commit to them. And so it is, because I said so, I thought so. Pisces is our spiritual truth. We feel it with step 28. We're deciding to commit the 8 to the 2. You turn it backwards in step astrology as far as how you manifest. So we commit to the 2, we commit to the feeling, and that is, of course, of our highest good, Pisces, whatever we can do. And then we are going to be off into Aries, right? So I went in and took 3 breaths, and guess what planet came up? You'll never guess. Mars. But let's first start with the sun, shall we? The sun is at step 28. Step 28 is, like I said, adds to a 10. So this is the highest manifestation goes in a cycle is step 28, okay? Step 10 is I manifest. Whenever we add in bulks of 10, add 10s to it. It's really, like, even mathematics makes so much sense. Once you have 10, you add it to a 2, it's 20. Add it to a 3, it's 30. These little blocks of 10 are kind of like almost how we manifest. I mean, it is how we manifest. It's interesting. So, over the weekend, we'll go to step 29 on Saturday and step 0, Aries, on Sunday. So it's going to be a kind of a takeoff and quiet Sunday, just so you know. Tomorrow it is what you feel and what your ego is acting on. And I think that's why I got the planet of Mars in meditation, of Mars. Because our ego is at a volatile spot. Why? Well, here is our ego. Mars is at step 4. Now this means that wherever Mars is, the planet's male energy is at that degree and level. So, believe it or not, you tend to have more intense fighting in the lower degrees than you do in the higher, because these are master degrees. So in these first degrees, you have the most intensity. Now, we saw the riots when Mars was in step 3 of its own. So it was in step 3 of Sagittarius. So it was in its own step. It was in its purebred step. And so people were getting to the nitty gritty. Now that Mars is at 4, Mars, step 4 is I belong. Okay, whoops, I'm not writing. I realized, sorry, was off camera there. Is I belong, which means Mars is putting male energy for things to go where they belong. Belong according to what? Belong according to our belief structure, Sagittarius, step 3. So it's kind of like Trumpers over here, Bernie people over there, Hillary people over there. Everyone go where they belong. And anyone who doesn't, and what this energy does is basically has everyone who's undecided kind of forced to join a line, because it's all like everything. But what happens is our egos are going to be pushing for what we believe in and what we belong. Our egos are pushing for that. And where we belong, step 4 is revolutionary step, by the way. Revolutionary step, Uranus. So what Spirit was saying to me basically when in meditation there with the 3 breaths was that, first of all, actually it's kind of coming in right now. The lunar eclipse that's coming up next week is going to be basically designed to take out where the ego is ignorant. I think the ego is going to expose where it's ignorant probably any time this weekend to the lunar eclipse on Wednesday. And I think Mars is important because, personally, it's basically about Sagittarius, is what Spirit was showing me, which is that, your ego is either running the old belief or it's running the new beliefs, okay? And even if you still believe in the same things, the world has changed. So you better have updated your beliefs to meet with the world. That's one of the things. If you're, so this is why religions that don't change is a bad thing, because the world keeps changing and they're trying to keep it all in one thing here. It's like the world's expanding, but the religion is staying like that, right? So basically for people, a lot of breakdown, personal spiritual breakdown for people who are just clueless. They're going to realize that they picked the wrong team or they believed the wrong thing. Wrong meaning that their heart wasn't happy with the outcome. Okay? So there's this loss. Then there's this scattering for what is the truth. So it's kind of a big, earthquake / tsunami of Mars going through this point. The point is as you go through the week and on the weekend, what you're trying to identify are parts of your ego that are frankly playing the old program. those are the parts that could break down. Those are the parts where you can end up being a jackass. Really asking yourself, what do we believe? Well, we believe it should be equal, so everyone sit down at the table. We believe this, so this. So it's kind of like in the beginning of the United States, it was like, this is democracy, so freedom of speech must, we carried and ran with what that meant. You will have to watch your ego, make sure it is fighting for the new beliefs, and make sure it interprets those beliefs in your reality moving forward. That's what I'm trying to say. Spiritual. All right. Venus is at step 7. That is the spiritual note. And Venus is now conjuncting Neptune, which is the granddaddy of 7, and it is at step 10. So we are manifesting a whole new spiritual level. I think these spiritual levels are going to stay. So it's like, wherever you're participating in stuff in society, wherever you are, however you're healing or not healing, if grandma decides she's not healed over it, she won't be. We're creating a spiritual step now at step 10. So she's going to create her next spiritual cycle with this not healed officially, still on the griddle, right? So be conscious to let things go and let things flow, and realize with Venus at 7 conjuncting Neptune, the universe is whispering about as loudly as God can in one's ear right now. Okay. The only other thing I want to point out is this wonderful grand trine and fire that's going to light up here between the moon, this energy in Mars, and the sun moving over into Aries. So basically we're going to have this grand trine of fire and passion, and this passion is both the tension of people not changing, so holding on to the old belief structures and insisting, gets really, 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 really fired up and intense, and they're all going to get fired up. People are going to get fired up even though they're on the wrong thing. People who choose the right path for themselves, they're going to be so excited, they're going to get all fired up, and so the whole world's going to be fired up this weekend. Don't forget that you want to hold true to your spiritual boundaries on your final test on Saturday. All right. That is all for today. Okay, my friends. Now, if you're watched over my personal Sensei service, today your eye candy at 3 o'clock, which is a text or email that's sent out for those who live across the world. We do have an email service for you, and we send an email at 3 o'clock your local time with the same information. This today will be your solar lunar eclipse. After all this eclipse talk, I thought you should know what your prenatal eclipses were. So that'll be at 3 o'clock, and I'll be, of course, giving you serious alerts as the turbulence hits through the weekend here and as we approach the lunar eclipse. And I'll be talking lunar eclipse in more detail, showing the actual planets of it in the Monday Namaste today. Have a great weekend, my friends. Come on down to soulgarden.tv, leave a comment. Remember, I love you, and live, love, be.